Hello, everybody. This is Breaking Ish, and this is a special broadcast overview of the January 6th committee report. Uh, this particular episode, I'm going to just briefly go over what I thought about the report. And if you are new, please like and subscribe. Some housekeeping. You may see a big dog running around behind me, making all kinds of noise. That's just my angel and my demon, however you want to put it. And other than that, let's dive in. I just got through reading the January 6th committee report, and it's 800 some pages, but it's not really 800 pages because there are a lot of references, a lot of endnotes. There's the executive summary. There's the table of contents. So it's probably like around 600 pages, or maybe even no, maybe even 500 pages, something like that. But it's a lot of information. And I will go over the whole report in segments in this special broadcast. Not today, but today I'm going to provide sort of an overview of what I thought about the report. Now, off the top, right, uh, just after reading this report and finishing it, I see that the January 6th committee in the report or in the appendices did not talk at all about Secret Service lapses. And we heard from the sixth hearing and from the ninth hearing that there definitely were questions about how the Secret Service handled the information, what information they had that was relevant to uh, Donald Trump's connections with Oath Keepers, and also how he behaved uh, during the insurrection. By the way, sorry about the B. Arthur hair. Again, nothing I can do, and I'm not going to think too much about it, but I just can't. Ugh. Anyway, so what we learned is that the committee report does not have anything about the Secret Service other than what we learned in the fourth and ninth hearings. I don't know if we're going to learn more about the Secret Service from transcripts or anything else that the committee will release. So far, the transcripts that have been released, I don't see anything. Also, I don't think they released the transcripts of their testimony of Ginny Thomas yet, and the report or the appendices doesn't have anything about her, which security specialist who was part of the technical team of January 6th, Denver Riggleman, in his book and also in various explanations on social media, has said that there was some relevant information there that the public should know. So that's one of those two of the things that the committee didn't have any information on. The only rationale that I can think of that the committee would have for that is that those are far more ancillary to what happened on January 6th and who was responsible for it. And so, in that sense, the report talked extensively in the appendices, not in the chapters, not in the first 8 chapters, talked about law enforcement, about Capitol Police, about Metropolitan Police, about the FBI, about the military, Department of Defense, and about National Guard, and how there were sort of institutional ruts. The overview is that there were institutional ruts that got in the way of uh, top leadership all the way from Department of Defense to Capitol Police to be able to implement security measures. And those ruts went everywhere from just not picking up on all of the intelligence that were coming in or having like a centralized intelligence assessment area for January 6th, and an event that they were getting tips from various sources, as the report points out, that something was going to happen, and the leadership just didn't consolidate all of the intelligence. And there were also concerns about how the National Guard would be perceived by the public if they went out on civil disturbance missions. And there was just a lot of conflict and no unity of mind between top leadership and commanders on the ground. Uh, Police officers and commanders on the ground did everything that they could to prepare, and it's because of them that the insurrection failed. But it is because of institutional failures and failures on the part of leadership in all of the law enforcement departments, and also the fear of what Donald Trump intended to do with National Guard by Mark Meadows sending a memo to the Secretary of Army saying that uh, they wanted National Guard troops to support Donald Trump when he went to the Capitol, essentially making the National Guard part of Donald Trump's insurrection. And that was a concern. I would say that's a serious concern, but still, the Secretary of the Army and the people who were delegated authority to command the National Guard of DC failed at several steps, all the way from weeks before the insurrection to after the insurrection started. So I mean, anybody who says that the committee did not report on law enforcement, they didn't read all the way to the appendices. And I think that each of these law enforcement departments, with the exception of the Secret Service, are now on notice. And the public, if they read the report, know that these departments, there were lapses that need to be addressed. There are people who, even when they, you know, even though at the end they did the right thing, there were parts of their own decision making process in the beginning, right after the election, when the chatter started coming in, that they didn't pay attention to it, and they should have. These people are in positions of national security. If common citizens, lay people, just observing news and social media, can put two and two together and start warning, and national security leaders don't take those countless warnings seriously, then that brings into question the uh, the quality of leadership that sits at the very top of our law enforcement agencies. So it's just, there were people who were more concerned about optics than they were about what was happening at the Capitol, even as it was happening, even as they got notice that things were different with this crowd. So that's that. I would expect that each of these departments will investigate independently on their own, with their own inspector generals, what went wrong. I would hope that Congress would provide oversight, and I think the Senate will this time around, because now the Senate is 51-49. Even with Cinema being an independent, she's still caucusing with Democrats. So that would mean that the House won't for the next 2 years, because what the GOP agenda is, we all know, is vengeance, and it's going after Hunter Biden and going after the people who investigated, who were part of the January 6th committee, and whatever else, and sort of handling their you know line candidates and Congress elects, and just that's what they're going to do. They're going to show the world, the sort of the bottom of the barrel of American political leadership, which you know let them expose themselves. Who cares? As long they won't be able to do any sort of substantial damage to any oversight that the Senate would provide. So let's hope that the Senate would provide oversight to learn more about how these law enforcement agencies failed in parts of their mission. And at no point of these criticisms or these revelations did the committee find that police officers on the ground or who were commanding these police officers on the ground were in any way derelict in their duty. In fact, they carried out their duties like heroes do. And every single person who was on the ground defending the Capitol and then conducting arrests and then clearing out people, they were doing their jobs and they did exactly what they were told. They did it, uh, you know, with great sacrifice. So this, the committee's, report makes that clear, and I think that I think that was important to do. Yeah, I'll go into the substance of the chapters, the 8 chapters that sort of discuss in gritty detail how Donald orchestrated his seditious conspiracy and incited an insurrection. I maintain to this day that there is, I maintain even more so today than before the committee report came out and I read it, that there's ample information in the January 6th report to indict Donald Trump for seditious conspiracy under 18 USC 2384. And the 4 charges for which the committee referred Donald Trump criminally to the DOJ, those 4 charges of 3 of conspiracy and the 4th of the insurrection, those charges are elements in a seditious conspiracy charge. Obstructing, delaying official procedure, inciting insurrection, aiding and abetting in violence by, stopping, delaying by force official proceeding of the United States. And the place where the committee stopped and did not refer for seditious conspiracy is that they did not come upon, because of stonewalling and because of Fifth Amendment pleas and because of not, replying to the January 6th committee subpoenas, they couldn't get to even what would be hearsay, but still information that Donald Trump, in fact, did have the corrupt state of mind to commit seditious conspiracy. But the information that they have provided points to all the places that Jack Smith can go to. Jack Smith can go by DOJ grand jury subpoena and get the testimony from these people. Excuse me. And I believe one of the people is Mark Meadows. What the report, from the report, it is clear that Mark Meadows, John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani are in the same basket as Donald Trump when it comes to criminal liability for seditious conspiracy. And I believe that these 4 referrals of the 4 charges, they fit into the model of the seditious conspiracy. Because as I have said many times, seditious conspiracy is the turducken of crimes. And Donald Trump is the orange glazed chicken sitting in the middle. And all of these other crimes, that the 4 crimes principally for which the committee referred Donald Trump, they are elements of the seditious conspiracy statute as well as being independent crimes of their own. What separates these 4 charges from seditious conspiracy is the specific corrupt state of mind that Donald Trump had of upending our constitutional order and staying in power, despite having full knowledge, or any reasonable person having full knowledge, that he lost the election. And the committee has plenty of information pointing in that direction. But in order for that information to turn to evidence, the committee has to get corroborating testimony from multiple people, corroborating independently to the same set of facts of what Donald's state of mind was. Because Donald is never going to get on stand and say, yes, that was my state of mind, and I wanted to upend the rule of law. He's just going to say that he still believes that the election was stolen from him. The rest of it was the underground roots that included planning for the insurrection, that included inciting people of the insurrection, of which Roger Stone was a principal part. But it was also the fake elector scheme and how Kenneth Chesbrough was the first one who drafted the memo for this fake elector scheme. John Eastman took it over and went with it. Rudy Giuliani was the head of the coercion campaigns in Georgia and in other states, along with Jenna Ellis. And uh, uh, John Eastman was focused on the fake elector scheme, along with Kenneth Chesbrough. Mark Meadows was the switchboard operator for Donald Trump, connecting and liaising with members of Congress to get things done, liaising with Ronna McDaniel of the RNC to get things done, to file these, to file these motions, these protest applications, and these fake elector certifications, aiding and abetting Donald Trump in his criminal conspiracy. And the end point of the seditious conspiracy statute is the intent to overthrow the government of the United States or to delay official proceedings of the United States. And that happens with the information that the committee provides. You can read it in the document. And I think that Jack Smith has to make this determination. And after all the evidence he gathers from all the grand jury subpoenas and other means of evidence, he has to decide whether there is more than enough evidence. If there's more than enough evidence that would, satisfy the federal rules of evidence to go to court and successfully convict Donald Trump of seditious conspiracy. Because in a court of public opinion, in the court of information, verifiable information, under oath testimony by hundreds of thousands of people, it is clear that he committed seditious conspiracy against the United States. It is even more clear and evidentially provable that he committed these crimes based on just the information / evidence that the committee has gathered and has provided now to the DOJ. Those indictments of the 4 charges should be easy for the DOJ. But the question is, will the DOJ stop there or go with more? And I believe that there is more than enough for the DOJ to go with a lot more. In the upcoming episodes of this special of going through the January 6th committee report, I'm going to go through section by section of how these schemes developed, of how the insurrection plan developed, of how the extremist people came together. And the report talks about it, and I'm just going to go through it and review it, so you don't have to go through the 500-page document if you don't have the time. But I would recommend that you please read that. And if you have questions about it, please reach out and ask any person who you trust to know the rule of law, whether that be Glenn Kirshner or Asha Rangappa or Joyce Ellen or Barbara McQuaid or Lawrence Drive or Michael Luddig or Neil Katyal or Harry Littman or Norm Eisman. There are so many amazing legal experts who are available on Twitter and providing real-time, near real-time information and breaking down these legal analyses. And if you're not satisfied with any of them, there's always me. You can come to my channel. You can ask me questions. One of the things that I provide that probably these great people don't provide is that I will get back to you with an answer if I have the answers. And I will let you know if I don't. If you ask these questions on Twitter or on YouTube, I will get back to you. So with that, I will end this overview, and I will come back tomorrow with the sections, particular sections of the report. Thank you. Bye bye.